What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. In today's episode, I'm going to break down each of my trades from the morning. For those of you guys new to the channel, my name is Ross Cameron. I'm a full-time trader, and I upload a recap every single day, whether it's a red day or a green day. Well, Monday through Friday. I'm day trading stocks, so the markets are closed on the weekend. Now, this morning, I'm sitting in the green, up over $115,000 on the day. Holy smokes, we got some momentum. Where did it come from? Well, the conflict in the Middle East has resulted in energy prices going up. And so there are a number of small cap energy stocks that made huge moves today. Our leading gainer right now is up over 350%. Second leading gainer, 160%. Third leading gainer, 118%. I mean, these are big percentage gains, and these are all energy companies. Okay, so this morning when I saw the energy stocks were moving, which was pretty early, it was around 6:30 in the morning, I saw they were moving. I came over, sat down at my desk right away because I've traded some of these stocks in the past. During the pandemic, back in 2020, sort of the beginning of the pandemic, we also had a bit of a surge in energy stocks. Or was it 2021? Now I can't remember. It was during the pandemic. In any case, we had this period where we had a number of energy stocks that made huge moves. I mean, it was really unbelievable. Well, let's jump onto the chart and start breaking it down. So you can see this is my P&L today right now, $115,000, RBNE, the biggest winner, and it's currently at high a day. It's continuing to squeeze up without me. I'm leaving some money on the table on it, but you know what? I'm walking away with over $100,000 in my pocket. I can't complain. I think I did a pretty good job. Right now, it just broke up over 400% on the day. So, and right now it's coming up to the halt level, 406% on the day at $16.98. Love to see this momentum. This is beautiful. Now it thinned out a little bit there, but it's halted and showing a 1790 resumption. Now the thing with RBNE is that it's also a somewhat recent IPO. It has room back up towards 2465, where there's no, and that's the first resistance level. So there's a big window here. And then above this level would be a blue sky setup, because it would be all-time highs. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this is able to do today. But let's go back to the beginning of the morning when I first sat down. So this is the stock that I broke the ice on. This is my first trade of the day. And well, when I first sat down, I saw that Husa was up quite a bit. And this one also put in a bit of a move yesterday. It was kind of around in the morning. Ends up squeezing up quite a bit, from $8 all the way up to $19 a share. Beautiful pullback right there. And so when I was sitting down at about 6:30 or looking at the scanners, I was like, okay, this might be something I can work with. Unfortunately, it kind of rolled over. But you know why it rolled over? Because RBNE started squeezing up. So a new stock came into focus that was more exciting, more volatile. And so people sort of ditched Houston Energy and switched over to this one. So as this started to pull away here early in the morning, basically what ended up happening is it sort of pops up here at 6:30, pulls back, pops up a little bit more, pulls back a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. It surges all the way up to 860. Now this is a little bit early. I did pull up the level 2 and I started watching it right here, but it was a little thinly traded. The spreads were a little bit big and I just felt like, I don't know if I can kind of break the ice on it here. So it ends up dipping down. I took my first trade as a dip right down here, off of 750. It bounces back up to 8, made some money. So it was not a big position, but broke the ice first trade. Dips down again, bought the dip for a double bottom, pops back up, little profit. Comes back down, triple bottom, added, and it pops back up. Actually pops up here. Comes back down again, pops back up, and I'm trading each one of these dips, buying support and then selling when it pops up. Comes back down again, I added and stopped out. And you know what was kind of annoying is I didn't really make that much money in this range here because I was trading with smaller size. So I was only up about $2,500, and then I ended up giving it all back right here and going down $1,000 on the day. And I was like, gosh, that's kind of annoying. But it's not the end of the world. this just kept testing this flat bottom, and then finally it cracked that level. So we would call that a flat bottom breakdown pattern. So I'll just draw this line again here. So flat bottom, and then finally it breaks that level. Now it does end up coming back above that level, but initially we're below that level. And this is actually another good example of support becoming resistance. So I'll grab a screenshot of this for the classes. So this is support right here, support. Then we break below and it becomes resistance coming back up, right? So you see how it kind of does a little switch there. All right, so I'm gonna drop that in my slide deck for the classes. So that's going to be flat bottom support. All right, so it ends up coming back up. And as it comes back up right here, this also coincides with the top of the hour, 7 a.m. right here, which is when most retail traders are able to start trading. So I did jump back in it right here, and we got to squeeze all the way up to 880, micro pullback, and then it pushes a little bit higher, up through 880 right there. This is a really nice 1 minute pullback, squeezes up to 9, dips down. I add right here on this dip. We push up to 10, 1050, all the way up to 11, and all the way up to 12. So that move right there from $8 to 12. I mean, so basically right here, I lost about $1,000. So I made some money, then gave back some money. And then I got myself in the green here, up 10,000, 15,000. And then all of a sudden right here, I'm sizing up as it pulls away, and I'm up 40,000, and then 50,000, 60,000, 70, 80, hit 99,000. And then, no, it was hit 90,000, and then gave back 10,000 off the top down here and was up 80,000 on the day. Tried to do this dip. It comes back up. Ended up getting out break even because I was looking for a curl back through the highs. Got back in down here for this dip. Again, basically got stopped out break even. It does end up going back up a little bit more, but was sort of choppy. Ends up pulling back a little bit more. So now I switch off the 10-second chart and I switch over to the 1 minute chart. So this is our 1 minute. So you can see we had this high here. We pull back, and then suddenly we got this rip back up. I jumped in on this rip back up and I made $10,000. So I got myself back to 90 grand on the day, and then immediately gave it back. So back to 80,000 on the day. So it's sort of choppy there. And at that point, I connected these two highs to create that resistance line. So this then was in play through here. Did not trade that, but I did trade right here as we broke over this descending resistance line. And as we pulled away right here, this is where I made back that first 10,000, got myself back to 90 on the day, and then 100 on the day. And that was just on RBNE, which is now peaking at about $18 a share. Fantastic. You know, would have been, I'd probably be up 200,000 on the day if instead of chopping out here, it had just done a micro pullback and gone right here up to 16, and then pulled back and gone right up to 18. That would have been a $200,000 day if this first leg just kept squeezing higher. And you know what? It had the potential to. It was a recent IPO, squeezing up. We've got the catalyst with energy, the price of energy. So it was set up to do that. It just, for whatever reason, didn't happen to. Now, interestingly, this stock is easy to borrow, which means you don't have to pay to locate shares. And so a lot of brokers are going to allow it, well, if it's easy to borrow, it's going to make it so you can short, and it's very easy to short. So the result is that you have more short selling typically at the beginning of the move. But what's happening here as it goes up 400, now 50%, is those early shorts are getting squeezed out. Because what a lot of short sellers do is they add, and they're waiting for this to unwind to cover, but it's not really unwinding. It's in fact stayed above the volume weighted average price all morning. It is getting extended up here. There's no doubt about it, from 12 to 19. But it could go to 20. It could go to 30. Who knows? We don't know how high it's going to go before it reverses. So the shorts that just keep adding and adding and adding are going to get themselves in a real jam on it. And so you can end up getting a short squeeze. But unfortunately, at this time of the day, we also have market orders. And so market orders create bigger whips in the stock. You see there, we just went from 19 down to 1750. I mean, these are big swings, and they happen fast. So you have to really be pretty confident in your entry at this time of day on this price stock with these kind of spreads, because otherwise you're just going to end up losing just in between the spread. Now, it looks like Houston Energy, beautiful. So I'm going to tell you, I'm feeling a little FOMO here that I wrapped it up on the day a little too soon. Seeing that really nice move is also getting me. Now, I made some money on this, $4,700, but definitely had the right idea. But, you know, so I took my first trade, break a VWAP here, and then got back in right here. Didn't work. And then now to see it all the way up at 18 is giving me a little FOMO. And then Icon was another energy stock. This one, I lost on my first trade on it. I jumped in it right up here at $3. It goes to $3.20 and then drops all the way to $2.60. I got back in right here as it broke back over 3, made back that money and got green on it. dips down, comes back up, double top. I don't trade that. Dips down, comes back up a second time. Bought right here for the squeeze through, hoping that we would get a flat top breakout. Ended up piercing that level and then coming back down. So up just under $10,000 on Icon. And, you know, I think that here's the thing that's interesting. I'm sitting up $115,000 and I still have FOMO. Why? Because I know I could have done better. That's the amazing thing with trading. So you might be up $100 on the day. Maybe you're up $1,500. Maybe you're up $10,000. And you're probably seeing this recap. You're like, wow, I could have done better. Well, I'm sitting here up 115, and I'm sure there's someone out there that's up 215, 415, maybe $1 million. And so there's only one person in the entire world today who's going to be the most profitable trader in the market. There's only one person. And to be honest, it's probably not even a person. It's, you know, going to be like an institution or something. I mean, the people who, you know, own like 1 million shares of one of these companies, they're the ones who are really up, you know, crazy money. But in any case, you can spend a lot of time comparing yourself to others or feeling FOMO for what you could have, should have, would have done, you know, if you'd stayed longer. But we also know the other side of the coin where, you know, you overstay your welcome, you start giving back profit, and next thing you know, you're thinking, man, why didn't I walk away when I was up X amount? I overstayed my welcome and I gave back half my day. Or I went from green to red, right? How many of us have done that? So at the end of the day, you got to make the call of when you're going to call it. Today for me, the reason I called it when I did was because my last couple trades were small losers. They didn't really play out the way I thought they would. I saw the spreads getting bigger on these stocks, even as the volume was increasing, but I think that's because of market orders past the open. And I just felt like, you know, I think I'm exposing myself to too much risk if I start doing, you know, if I start trading these up here, all of a sudden I'm going to take a trade and jump into something at 1950 there for the break of 20. And then suddenly in a heartbeat, it flushes down. What was the low here? 1861. And I'm panic selling on the bid with, you know, another 25 cents of slippage and I'm losing $1 a share or something. And it's like, you know what? Well, why don't we end the week on a good note? So ending the week on a good note, I think is nice. Helps you go into the weekend feeling good. And although I'm going to go into the weekend maybe with a little bit of FOMO that I could have made a bit more today, I'm not going to be feeling bad or sorry for myself because this is a really solid day. It is the best day of the week. Oh, and by the way, that just flashed down to a low of 1750. Best day of the week here. And this now puts me up, let's see, it's going to be over $600,000 on the month of June. So I'm in great shape here, 2 weeks in. Yes, I have aggressive goals for the month. You know, I think that $1 million is within reach, but this week, you know, last week was phenomenal. I mean, it was, you know, these huge green days on Monday and Tuesday, 278 on Monday, 147 on Tuesday, but then it cooled off a little bit going into the weekend. The week before was also really hot. So I had like 2, 4, 6 incredible days in a row. Each of these days were like within the, you know, at least top 20 biggest days of the year. RBNE halting down here. So, you know, you see these big swings. Let's just look at that RBNE chart for a second. Let's see, let me just pop it back up. So RBNE. Okay, so just kind of a slower unwind. But in any case, so that's halted down. Yeah. So, but yeah. So, anyways, I do have pretty aggressive goals here for the month of June, and if I mean, realistically, we've got you know, on the calendar, what, 2 weeks, you know, two weeks left. Markets closed on Thursday, June 19th, so market holiday there. So, you know, we've got basically 2 days. 2 weeks left in the month. And if I can, you know, if I can get a couple more days like today, that's going to get me real close to that monthly goal. On the other hand, you know, if I can average 20 to 30,000 a day, that's going to get me pretty darn close too. Maybe not all the way there, but certainly pretty close, especially if I'm up around 30,000 a day, or maybe I can have a couple $40,000, $50,000 days. So this could end up being $1 million month, even without me having a record-breaking trade, even without me having the biggest winner, you know, or biggest green day of my career. this could still be a good month as long as I can maintain a good average and avoid red days. And avoiding red days means walking away sooner and not letting myself get emotionally hijacked. So that's where I'm going to finish the day here. And I will see you guys back at it first thing Monday morning. For those of you guys who have not already checked out some of my full-length episodes here on YouTube, I'll put links to them right here and here that you can watch. And I'll remind you, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical. I've been doing this for a long time. So please manage your risk and practice these new strategies you're learning in a simulator before putting real money on the line. All right, I'll see you guys back at it Monday morning.